A graduate student here at the University of Pennsylvania in their education school. My question for you is, how do you convince people that there are absolute truths in this age of unbelief?
Well, I think you try to convince them that it's in their own best interest, to believe in absolute truths. We all act like we do. I mean, our society is constructed on our ability to trust that we all share some common absolute truths. Like thou shalt not kill. That's still acceptable. I think everybody in society, we shouldn't kill one another. Of course, we've redefined killing and removed it from issues like abortion, and we might want to move it away from old age as time goes on, it seems. But we do act as though we believe that's a universal truth to be held by everyone and cannot change. It's obvious. So I think you use examples that we all still agree on. And I don't think there's anybody who will argue with you they might just for the sake of argument, but people do believe that it's really wrong to kill other people. I think you start off on the common ground and then try to show the logical inconsistency between holding that and then being open to people having the choice to kill babies. Make sense?
Yeah.
Any other questions? I think in the front. Hi, my name is Carolyn. I'm a student at Princeton, and I think one of the really hard things in talking about abortion with people is trying to explain the double effect, like illness to the mother when the mother will die or when both the mother and child will die. So what's a good way to explain that to people who aren't necessarily religious?
Well, that takes a class too. But you're talking about examples like the principle of double effect. Like, for example, if a woman discovers that she has cancer of the womb and she's pregnant, what's the difference between her having her womb removed and killing a baby by abortion? Is that kind of example we would use?
Right. So a lot of people don't really try to explain it like that.
Well, you have to argue philosophically. You have to say, like, we believe that it's always wrong to directly take the life of another. And if you perform an abortion, you're directly taking the life of the unborn child. If you remove the cancerous womb of a woman who's pregnant, the child dies. But either the action that you're taking is not to remove the child from her womb, but to remove the cancerous womb from the womb of his body. And they're different kind of acts. The result, of course, is that the child dies in both an abortion and in that situation. But your intention is certainly pure, although that's not enough. It's not just your intention. But the act is removing the cancerous womb. And the sad consequence is that the child dies. Now, you can argue that even more closely, and it takes a long time, but that's basically the outline of the argument. Now, does that make sense? I agree. But we can't always win the argument. If you think there's always a way of winning an argument, there isn't. But there's a way of bringing people to be thoughtful. You might not win the argument, but at least you get them to think somewhere down the line you might arrive at the same truth that you've discovered.
Archbishop, my name is Q and I'm the director of the local 40 Days for Life Mainline Coalition. We pray outside of Braemar Hospital in Lincoln North to stop the abortions. And I'm informed lately that they have reduced their abortions to medical necessities. And I would like to hear from you what the church views as medical necessities and in what cases they allow an abortion if it's necessary.
I'm not aware that there's any case that where abortion is medically necessary. The church doesn't approve abortion in any circumstance.
Thank you.
Do you know anybody who holds differently that this who's a Catholic?
There's talking about the atopic case where they didn't receive that from the womb.
Yeah, the atopic pregnancy is where, let's say, the child begins to develop in the fallopian tube. And again, what the child begins to develop the fallopian tube is there's deterioration of the walls of the tube, and the woman begins to bleed. And the doctors can act to remove that damaged part of the body. Now, the consequence, like removing a cancerous wound, is the child dies. But the Catholic Church would believe you can go in and scrape out the child and kill the child in order to kill the mother.
But are you saying then, Archbishop, that the church allows them to remove that part of them?
Yes, like it would be a cancerous wound, certainly. But we wouldn't see, in the traditional thinking and speaking of the church, we wouldn't consider that abortion. It's surgery to remove cancer, and the result, of course, is abortion is the direct removal of the child from the womb in order to terminate the life of the child, or as we say today, the fetus.